Hey there. Today we are going to talk about evaluating expressions with variables. And really all that is kind of like formula substitution solution. You're given an expression instead of a formula. You're going to substitute in some number amounts in your variables, and then you're going to solve. And when you're finished with this video, I'm going to have you work on an IXL Level H Z6, which is going to do the same thing. So I've taken some notes for you. I'm going to work out some problems, and then you'll have some notes to refer to. And if you have any questions, go ahead and email me, or go ahead and just write those questions down, save them for Friday in our Google Meets, and I can answer those for you then. Okay, let's get started. Okay, first thing I want to do is take a look at this. It says evaluate each expression when k equals 7. And I have to remember when I'm looking at this to also follow order of operations. So I have k squared plus 5 for my first one, and I'm going to substitute in here that k is 7, so I really have 7 squared plus 5. And then I have to remember that 7 squared actually means 7 times 7, which is 49, plus 5, and that's going to give me 54. Okay, so that is how I evaluate the expression. I am just substituting in 7 for k and solving. Let's take a look at the next one. 4k minus 6, and it's in parentheses, so I have to do that part first, divided by 2. 4 times 7 minus 6, and then this whole thing is in parentheses. Okay? It gets a little tricky having parentheses inside parentheses, so what you may see sometimes in the world of algebra is what we actually call a bracket, like this. And they're a little bit more powerful than parentheses, and you do what's in the brackets first. So inside of the brackets I have multiplication and I have subtraction. Order of operations says do your multiplication first. So 4 times 7 is 28 minus 6. And then I'm still going to keep that in my brackets, or since I don't have any parentheses left now, you can go ahead and make those parentheses. And I still have divided by 2 over here. So 28 minus 6 is 22 divided by 2, and that's going to leave me with 11. Next I have 2k plus 10 divided by 12. So I have 2 times 7 plus 10, and again this whole thing is in parentheses, or I'm going to do brackets, divided by 12. 2 times 7 is my multiplication, and I have addition, but I'm going to do my multiplication first, and that's going to give me 14 plus 10. I still have my divided by 12 here. 14 plus 10 is 24, divided by 12 is going to leave me with 2. Okay, the next part is just a little bit trickier because there's an extra step. It's asking us to solve 2 variable expressions, which means I don't just have one letter in the equation but 2. So this time I have an A and a B. It's telling me A is 9 and B is 5. So anywhere I see an A, I'm going to substitute in 9, and anywhere I see a B, I'm going to substitute in 5. So my first problem says 5A plus 7B. So I'm going to rewrite this as 5. Instead of A, I'm going to have 9 plus 7, and instead of B, I'm going to have 5. Then I'm just going to multiply. So 5 times 9 is 45. 7 times 5 is 35. And then add those together to get 80. The next problem, 111 minus 6 times b, which is 5. And I'm going to give myself some brackets here. Divide that by 9. So now I have 111 minus 30 divided by 9. 111 minus 30 is 81. Divided by 9 is going to give me 9. And then this next one, b squared is 5 squared plus 6 times a is 9. I think I'm going to change that to a bracket here. Minus 10. So, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. I'm thinking of my PEMDAS here. I'm just going to rewrite 5 squared so I can do one step at a time. 6 times 9 is 54 minus 10. Okay, 5 squared is 5 times 5. 54 minus 10 is going to give me 44. Then I have 25 plus 44 is 69. Okay, so basically I'm just substituting in those numbers for those variables, and then I am following order of operations, and of course I want to be careful that I don't make any simple errors with my add, subtract, multiply, or divide. So let me show you a story problem so that you can see how this relates to the real world and why we're using algebraic expressions. So here's a problem. The Toledo Zoo charges $10 for adults, $7 for children. The expression 10a plus 7c can be used to find the total cost of a group, where a is the number of adults. I'm going to pause here and underline this. And c is the number of children. So in this formula, A stands for adults, C stands for children. What is the total cost of a group of 3 adults and 5 children? Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this formula here. 10A plus 7C. And I know A stands for adults and C stands for children. And the problem's asking how much it would cost if I have 3 adults. So I'm going to plug in a 3 there for A. And 5 children. So I'm going to plug a 5 in there for the children. And then all I have to do is solve. So 10 times 3 is 30. 7 times 5 is 35. I'm going to go ahead and add these two together. If I look back at the problem, it's asking what is the total cost. So if I have $10 per adult and $7 per child, and there are 3 adults and 5 children going, so let's say maybe mom, dad, grandma, and 5 kiddos all go to the zoo, it's going to cost them $65 to get in. Okay? So that's just one example of how we use expressions in the real world. You could use this in any situation if you're talking about how much it costs for students to go on a field trip to the zoo, if you're talking about how much it costs for students to pay for their lunches, and maybe you're comparing the regular cost for lunch and then you're adding on students who are buying something a la carte. So you're adding in those Fruit by the Foots or Rice Krispie treats or the Flamin' Hot Cheetos or your Izzy drinks. So we can set up a formula like this, and then we can plug in any number amount for your variable to figure out our outcome. Okay, so go ahead and try your IXL Z6. I'm also including a brain pop video for you to watch that may help explain all of this a little bit more. And then again, you can check out your Timberstone book. Your Timberstone Math Resource website for your book. And I will see you Friday on Google Meet. Okay, thank you.